The Enlightenment was a hugely heady moment in Europe. Everything was being challenged, everything was being overturned, particularly moral values. So at these clubs, a lot of it, there was there was a lot of adultery, there was sexual meetings. They were challenging all the norms of what was sexual identity, as well as religious identity, family identity, the connection to this. If this sounds familiar to you, I'm not surprised, because it will sound familiar from other things we've seen. However, it was an extraordinary time, but the other part of this exploded into radical revolutionary thinking. And that took place in 1772 with the dissection of Poland. And we are still deeply enmeshed in the consequence of Catherine the Great's Pale of Settlement. It finally exported, if you like, revolutionary Trotskyism to America that ultimately became the neocon groups, and to Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution, and Zionism into England, which eventually led to the creation of the State of Israel. So all of this came out of this grouping and movements that would take place. The other wing to these movements, and this is often separated, was really the unprecedented growth of certain families, particularly from Frankfurt, that were connected to the Messianic movement of Sabbatean Frankist circles in Frankfurt at that time, but spread through the family connections, the dynasties, to the point at which some of these banking families were more powerful than the governments. They were lending to the government. It was certainly the case. In 1815, the Rothschilds crashed the stock market of Britain. By the following year, they'd crashed the Bank of England, which had been established some time earlier. And then in the following year, they did that in France, and in a different way, crashed the financial system, such that a leading member of some of these families were able to say, I don't care who's on the throne in England. I wouldn't care who is the prime minister, because I know that through money and credit, I control the state. And they were financing wars directly. It set up what was called the Round Table. It was run by Lord Alfred Milner. And the Round Table worked behind the scenes at the highest level of British government, shaping foreign policy. It was another secret society. It incited the Boer War. The Boer War was waged primarily to raise the collateral to fund rearmament, confronting Germany at that point, and spawned the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Council on Foreign Relations, the CFR, and the RIAA, and spawned the Bilderberg Group in 1954 and the Trilateral Commission in 1973, all of which had an ideology of moving towards a world government and a world financial and economic system.